Okay, so we're going to do parts E and F of problem 1, and then we'll do problems 2, 3, and 5. And let's see, there are 14 problems in this problem set, so you'll have quite a few to work on your own. So you might want to take that additional time from ending early today and get a head start so that you don't find yourself out of time at the last minute. Okay, so again, for number 1, we're doing E and F. E is asking if there are 7,750 equivalent units, what is the equivalent material cost per unit? Well, with materials, we don't really need equivalent units because it's always 100%, right? So basically they're saying, what's the material cost per unit if this is the number of units, 7,750? So we need to start with what is our material costs. We see that up here. And how would we calculate our material cost per unit?
Divided by.
Okay, so we take our material costs, divide by the number of units. We get 2. So what does 2 represent? Okay, $2 material cost per unit. I'll just abbreviate it like that. That wasn't so bad, right? Okay, let's see what else we have up here. It tells us the direct labor cost. It tells us manufacturing overhead, selling and administrative expenses, which are not part of production. So we don't need it for part F. So part F is asking us if there are 22,000 equivalent units, what is the equivalent conversion cost per unit? Okay, so how do we figure this out? What are our conversion costs? Okay, direct labor and manufacturing overhead. Again, selling and administrative are not part of production. Direct material is not part of conversion, right? So just the direct labor and manufacturing overhead. And then what do we do? Okay, divide by the 22,000 units, and we get $1.75 conversion cost per unit. Okay, questions? All right, well, let's go to number 2. We're going to do all 5 of these questions. So let's go through the data first. Let's see, we have direct material costs. We have direct labor costs, per hour. So we also need the number of labor hours, which is here at the end. It says overhead is applied at 150% of direct labor costs. Yes, Juan. We did number 2 already?
Yeah, I have it.
Oh, okay. That must have been part of the lecture then. Okay, if you weren't here, then you can watch that on Tuesday's recording. All right, well, that saves us even more time. How about number 3? Did we do this one?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah, we did.
Wow. Yeah. How about number 5? No? Okay. Now I'm trusting you all because my memory is like not so great. You're not pulling my leg, are you? Okay, well, I guess we're just doing number 5 and then we're done. I can go back and I can check the video, by the way, and I can make sure we really did that. No, I trust you. Okay. Okay, so this is it. This is our last problem of the week. together at least. And here it says ending work in process inventory is 30% complete with respect to conversion. Remember, as you're working on the problems, if it tells you the conversion percentage of the beginning inventory, ignore it, right? That's not relevant. We need to know the conversion percentage for the ending inventory. All right, so we've got costs over here, we've got units over here. Now, normally what we do is the first part is all units, and the last part is where we get into the costs. So I think that's what's going on here. How many units were completed and transferred out? Okay, it says transferred out 19,000, so that is correct. They didn't give us ending work in process, right? Okay, so how can we figure that out? How can we figure out either ending work in process, or how can we figure out total units to account for? Okay, that'll work. That is exactly right. Thank you, Alex. So if we take our beginning work in process of 5,000 plus the 20,000 we started into production, that means there were a total of 25,000 units to account for. We could take the difference between that and what got transferred out, and that gives us our ending work in process units. All right, brilliant. Now we know materials are always 100% complete, so we can just go ahead and fill that in for reference. And it says 30% converted. So we'll go ahead and put 30% over here. It already has the word percent, so I'm just going to put 30. All right. Again, we're still working in units at this point. So how many got completed and transferred out? 19,000. Can I go all the way across on that? Yes, because remember, they have to be completely converted before they get transferred out, right? So it's always the same number on this transferred out row. Okay, then we know ending work in process is 6,000. That only applies to materials. And we put that under total units as well. We know total units to account for is 25,000. Again, materials and total have the same numbers, but conversion does not. So what am I going to put here for ending work in process for conversion units? Okay, how'd you get that, Zay?
You multiply 6,000 by the 30%.
Okay, exactly right. We take 6,000 units that are in process times 30% complete, and we get equivalent units, 1,800. So what is our total equivalent units for conversion? 20,800, right? We simply add. Okay, so we got the unit parts done. That wasn't too bad, right? And now we get to costs. Okay, so we have to look up here. We see $10,000 of beginning inventory material costs, 19,000 beginning inventory conversion costs. Okay, so I'll just fill those in. That totals $29,000 of beginning inventory costs. Then we've added direct material, labor, and overhead. So this goes into incurred during the period. Did any get transferred in? It looks like we didn't get any transferred in. Okay, good. So that'll be easy. So material cost added during the period is $50,000. Right? what is our conversion cost that got added during the period? Okay, the overhead plus the direct labor, right? Because that's part of conversion as well. So the labor and the overhead is 112,248. Now, if costs had been transferred in, we would include those as well. But since there weren't any, there's nothing to include. We could total those up, 162,248. All right, material plus conversion. Okay, and then it asks for total cost to account for materials. That's going to be 60,000. Here we have 131,248. Is that right? And here 191,248. This is one of those cases where you can add down. And oops, too many zeros there. Add horizontally, and we get the same number. We can also compare this 191,248 with the total up here. So we can feel pretty confident we got all those numbers right. Does that make sense to everybody? So what is our next step?
Go ahead and do the total units to account for those values to
Okay, so these total units to account for, go right here. Those are the equivalent units. They like to mess up the terminology a little bit sometimes to make sure we understand the concept. So now we take material costs divided by the material units. We get $2.40 per unit of materials or product, technically. Then we have conversion cost divided by equivalent units of conversion, $6.31. And then I could just take our total costs divided by total equivalent units, right? Right. If we divide, you'll see we get the wrong number. If I take the total cost divided by 25,000 units, we get this number. How do we get the actual total cost per unit?
We add the two cost per unit, the materials and the conversion.
We add the material cost per unit plus the conversion cost, and that will give us the right number. $8.71. Okay, we're almost done. Any questions so far? Ellie?
How'd you get that in character in the period again?
Oh, this one here?
Yeah.
So that was up above. There were $50,000 of material costs right here. And then the conversion costs were the direct labor and the overhead.
Oh.
We just added those together. Okay, any other questions? Okay, so the last step here, how do we figure out our total transferred out costs?
Completed, transferred out by the total cost per unit.
Okay, so 19,000 units were completed and transferred out. We multiply that by the $8.71 per unit. We get 165,490. Okay, how do we get our ending work in process materials cost?
Take the equivalent units multiplied by the cost per equivalent unit.
Okay, so we take 6,000 material units times $2.40 per unit. So that's 14,400, and we can do the same for conversion, right? We take 1,800 equivalent units for conversion that are still in process times the 631 rate. $11,358. Material cost plus conversion cost for work in process, I get 25,758. Okay, so now if we take our total cost of what got transferred out, total cost of what's still in process, should it equal this? Our total cost? Okay, let's try it. 191,248. Worked. Okay, anything need clarification here? All right, well then you're on your own for the rest of the chapter. Again, I'll be here if you have any questions. I'll stick around for a while. Otherwise, see you all next week.